Stand up, stand out, stand strong. A 30-day guide to navigate life when the shift hits the fan. Chapter 30, Day 30. Answering the Call for Love. Before you were born, a tiny seed was planted in the core of your being, and the directions to achieve its full potential were placed in your heart. Let's take a look at an acorn seed. It has the potential to become a mighty oak tree as long as it is planted in fertile soil, is watered frequently, receives the rays of the sun, and is held in a nurturing environment. The seed within each of us has the potential to thrive, expand, and grow in ways we can't even begin to comprehend. The potential beauty, the abundance of miracles, and the depth of love contained within each seed are beyond what our minds can conceive. Our individual seed represents our calling, our greatest potential, our purpose, our unique gift, and our extraordinary potential. We each hold within our hearts the recipe, the directions, the guidance to provide the most ideal environment to fulfill its potential and to live out our destiny. Each seed is unique and provides everything we need to extend our greatest contribution to humanity. There is one common thread in every seed, in every living being, and that is love. Our capacity to love deeply is inside each one of us. When we make a conscious choice to choose love, we are saying yes to the calling in our heart that has the potential to serve all of humanity directly or indirectly. One of the 10 life principles in my book, Heart-Led Living, When Hard Work Becomes Heart Work, is choose love. We need to make one of two choices, love or fear. If we go a little deeper and open our minds to another perspective around fear, we can begin to recognize that fear is actually a call for love. As we shift our mindset and embrace the truth that every action or non-action is either a choice for love or a call for love, we can answer other people's fears and their calls for love with compassion. The potential to choose love is always there within us. It is our true nature. We have been programmed to be afraid of fear, to contract, to withdraw, to fight against life, but that only adds more fear to the recipe. In other words, when we meet fear with fear, fear expands. When we can see that another's fear is simply a call for love, we can meet their fear with love, and love expands. My first visit to the Kibera slums in Nairobi, Kenya was overwhelming. It challenged me to the core of my being. The Kibera slum is one of the most densely populated areas of extreme poverty in the world. It is estimated that there are 1 million people living in 1 square mile of land, with most of them earning less than $1 a day. I was directed to walk in between my 2 local guides so they could keep me safe. My first step into the slums involved stepping over a river of sewage that crosses one of the main streets. The smell was intense. It hit my nose like a wall. I had to talk myself down and focus on taking one step at a time. I could feel the despair, suffering, pain, desperation, trauma, and collective emotional history coming at me from every direction like sharp thorns in my heart, mind, and body. As an empath and a healer, I could feel and sense the collective emotional suffering and physical. It came at me in every direction, and I have never felt so much intensity concentrated in one small area. My heart became heavy with grief, and I quickly felt deeply emotional. I was relieved to step into one family's home and listen to the story of their daily challenges. There was a 6-year-old girl who was curious and shy. She didn't speak English, and I didn't understand Swahili, so we communicated with simple gestures, smiles, and eye contact. I reached into my bag and brought out a sticker of a butterfly. Her eyes lit up as she looked at her mom for permission to take it from me. I could feel her gratitude, and her smile grew when I placed it on her hand. Each time I opened my bag, her eyes went wide with immense anticipation. I brought out some more stickers and a few bracelets. She was so grateful for anything I had to give. I could feel a deep connection and love extended from my heart. All of my experiences of the fear, pain, and suffering disappeared in that moment, and instead I felt the joy and gratitude in both our hearts for this beautiful exchange. I found peace and purpose for my visit. When we started to make our way back out of the slums, our guide was leading us through the safest paths, avoiding areas where they wouldn't be able to protect me. We were walking in between mud homes on narrow paths with streams of sewage flowing between our steps. The smell was intense, and I could feel my chest tightening with an overwhelming collective energy of suffering once again. It took all my focus just to breathe and not panic. I could hear my ego mind taking over and bringing me down into a wormhole. What am I doing here? I have no business being here. This is too much. I can't do this. I looked down and I stopped. My only option at this point on the path was to step direct into this stream of sewage. I looked up at my guide for another option, and with a loving, soft voice, she said, "One step at a time." I took a deep breath, and I stepped into the sewage and continued on my path. Once we arrived back to the main road, I was at the edge of my emotional capacity. My fear was expanding as it mixed with the collective fear of many who live in the slums. I surrendered and prayed for another perspective. Please show me another perspective, because the one I'm holding is way too painful. In that moment, I could hear children chanting and singing, "How are you? How are you? How are you?" I looked around and my eyes made contact with a group of young children jumping up and down and singing to get my attention. When my eyes met theirs, they giggled and scattered like shy mice. It was the only English they knew, and they were excited it got my attention. Suddenly, my eyes started to land on the children's faces as they smiled and waved at me with great anticipation of getting my attention. My heart started to expand with love as I smiled back. My eyes welled up with tears as I was moved by the children. I found joy in the middle of the Kibera slum, and all my fear and feelings of despair disappeared once again. I watched the joy in my heart as the children played with a stick, a boot, a set of wheels that had broken off a toy truck, a deflated ball. They were happy with whatever they could find. They were smiling, dancing, and singing. I met the collective fear I felt with love, and love expanded. The shift from fear to love opened my mind to see the possibilities, the potential, the love, the joy, the connection. The shift broke open my heart in a way that I can't capture in words. All I know is that I was changing and my fear was transformed. It took me a few days to process what I had witnessed, and I started to bless the women and children in the slums. I started to see them as capable. I may not have had money to give at that time, but I had a lot of love, compassion, and healing energy to extend, and that carried me through the rest of my trip as well as through my next visit. On my second trip to Kenya, I had no fear. It was odd at first, and I would occasionally look around for it. My fear had disappeared. I walked through the streets of the slums, visiting the schools and handing out small toy cars and trucks my son had donated, with a peaceful, calm, and open, loving heart. I was calm even when our car was surrounded by soldiers with rifles pointing at me through the window. I was deeply present and I had no fear. I heard my heart speak, "Open your window." And I calmly opened my window. And I calmly opened my window. Once the soldiers saw me, they lowered their rifles. I met their fear with unwavering love, and they calmed down. Upon my return to Canada, I became clear that our heart-led living foundation needed to be based on love. We extend love and healing energy as well as emotional and financial support to women and girls in Kenya. We do not give from a place of fear, obligation, or self-sacrifice. Anything given from fear only expands fear. We ask that donations are heart-led to ensure that love is the primary energy we extend. As we meet fear with love, love expands. Never underestimate the power of a choice for love. Love is the most powerful force that exists, and the potential for love is within each of us. It is not just in some of us. It is within all of us, every living being, without exception. The potential for love to grow, expand, and uplift humanity resides in each of our seeds. When we create a loving environment of love for self and others, and follow the unique directions to nurture the seed within our hearts, we will each grow in ways that have the potential to change the world and unify us in love. Yes, it feels like a big calling, and it is indeed a big call for love, but that is what is necessary to shake us up and wake us up. The time is now. No more delay. We have reached the tipping point, the point of no return, the choice point where we all get to choose to answer the call for love for ourselves and for everyone, everywhere. As we continue to unite in love, we become an even more powerful force for change. The world needs all of us to unite in love. The recipe is already within you. Your potential, your unique path to serve humanity with love are all within your own heart. As you trust your intuition, follow the directions of your unique recipe, and as you let your heart take the lead, you will become a beacon of love. No more delay. Answer the call for love within your own heart, and together we can answer the call for love for all of humanity, and we can become a force for change, evolution, and unity. When we bring our hearts together and unify in love for each other and our planet, we will illuminate the path for others, and together we will light up the world.